Welcome to the Wisdom for Life podcast with David Baker. David was a former paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division and for over 30 years has been a preacher. He has written 5 books and is an Amazon #1 best-selling author. He is the chaplain at the county jail, pastors a church, and is the father of 11 children. Yes, 11. This podcast is here to give you wisdom for your family, your marriage, your children, your finances, your health, and your life. And now, the host of Wisdom of Life podcast, David Baker.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Wisdom for Life podcast. My name is David Baker, your host. So we're glad you're here another week and have something special for you on Wednesday. Okay, on Wednesday. So first on this one, we want to learn you something, have a joke, give you something we like and don't like, give you a quote, Bible trivia, and so all that stuff there. So if you need to watch a video, it's YouTube channel, Wisdom for Life podcast, and Rumble on the same, and website, wisdomforlifepodcast.com. All right, we want to learn you something. Here you go. Last week we talked about, you remember? Liver mush. Yes, liver mush, a wonderful delicacy that I've never had. So, and I don't think I want it. And then there's liver pudding that's even more just like mixed up together. Liver pudding. No, thank you. All right, but this is about the liver. So, did you know your liver size fluctuates significantly throughout the day? While studying mice, a team of Swiss researchers found that mice's liver swelled and contracted up to 40% while doing their daily activities. The research being conducted, whether it happens to the extent in humans, one study in 1986 found a person's liver swells about 20% between day and night, presumably related to the fact that the liver is not working as hard while a person is sleeping. Okay? It's like, boy, I feel so big. Your liver may be swollen. Maybe why? Okay? See, you're not fat. You just, instead of saying big boned, you say, my liver's working. Okay? Try that one. See how that works. All right, a joke. Old joke, sure you heard it, but pretty good. A tour bus driver is driving with a busload of seniors down a highway when he was tapped on the shoulder by a little old lady. She offers him a handful of peanuts, which he gratefully munches on. After about 15 minutes, she taps him on the shoulder again and hands him another handful of peanuts. She repeats this gesture about 5 more times. When she's about to hand him another batch, she asks the little old lady, well, don't you like peanuts yourself? No, I can't chew them because I've got no teeth, she replied. The puzzled driver says, then why do you buy them? The old lady replied, well, I just love eating the chocolate around them. Yes. Be careful around old people. So, all right, things I love. I love restored relationships. I am a people person. I love people. And when relationships get twisted or get off, it hurts. It bothers me. A few years ago, one relationship got off and it got restored and then it got off again. And it was nothing that I did. I'll tell you, nothing that happened, but just life. And he was not where he needed to be. And so because of that, a wall goes up toward me. And this week he got to spend some time with us and just really special, really neat. Got a neat message from him. He said, I never should have left Tennessee. And he's moving back, looking forward to working with him. But I love restored relationships. Things I hate. Here it is. Relationships that aren't restored. People that hate. What do you hate? People that hate without a cause, especially. Matthew 5:22 says that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of judgment. It's amazing how many people are angry without a cause. What did they do to you? Well, no. What did they do to you? Well, I heard that. No, what did they do to you? You're angry without a cause. And people are. In John 15:25, Jesus said they hated me without a cause. And so they're going to. Anything that happens to us, we shouldn't be surprised. So Jesus said, hey, they did this to me. They hated me. They'll hate you. All right. Quote of the week. Favorite one. Abraham Lincoln said, remember, not everything you read on the internet is true. Okay. Of course, including that quote. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Pretty cool. Go where there is no path and leave a trail. All right. Bible trivia, not trivial, but Bible trivia. So who asked Pilate for Jesus' body after the crucifixion? Who did that? Okay. Very simply, Joseph of Arimathea. Joseph of Arimathea. And then this week, the one is Paul was shipwrecked on what island? Paul was shipwrecked on what island? Okay, so see if you get that and you have that. All right. So get into our lesson for today, and it'll be a little bit of review. This lesson is just so important. It just seems hard or impossible not to do more than one of it. We're talking about separation of church and state. Okay, separation of church and state. I want to read you a quote that I got this week, and there are many more, but this one just was this morning. And so I had posted on the page of Running for Mayor about children. And I said, yes, children need correction, but in molding our children, the most important thing is to have their heart. How kind and sweet and neat and nice is that? Okay. Yes, children need correction, but in molding our children, let's make sure we have their heart. Boy, you think almost anybody can like and agree with that, right? Not real controversial. Man, hate. I'll never let you mold my children. Okay, I wasn't asking to, but what is the problem? Then this guy, Joseph Pandit, said, Christians for America, ! You and your ilk are just the local version of the Taliban. You and your ilk are just the local version of the Taliban. And they said, Christians for America, ? Like that's a bad thing. Yes, Christians for America. But please listen to me carefully. I promise you this is the direction that people are going and what so many people accept and believe. Separation of church and state, they believe is that Christians should not be involved in politics or in government at all. Because if Christians are involved in it, then you'll violate the law, the Constitution of separation of church and state. That truly, literally is what many people believe. Okay? And it's so wrong. It's totally wrong. But people believe that. And so we need to know and make sure that we understand what it means, what it doesn't mean, where it came from, to make sure that we are not going to mess up ourselves and our country because we believe that. And there's so many people, like I said, that do. So many people think that separation of church and state means that Christians should not at all be involved in politics. And it is so far from the truth. Okay? So, as a review, separation of church and state is very simply Congress shall make no law establishing a religion. Okay? That's it. Congress shall make no law establishing a religion. And so that's what they do. They try to say if you mention Christianity at all, then you are establishing a religion. Here's what it says, to quote it. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So you can't establish a religion and you can't prohibit the free exercise of that religion. However you want to worship God, as long as it's not violating somebody else's rights, then you're allowed to do that. Meaning, my freedom and liberty stops where yours begin. I have the freedom to do whatever I want. I'm just going to punch you in the nose, and I'm free, so I can do that. The problem is, when I punch him in the nose, that violates his freedom of not being punched in the nose, okay? So it is against the law. It's assault. If I would punch him in the nose, but I'm free, I can do that. No, my freedom ends where his freedom begins, very simply, okay? So my freedom of religion and exercising my freedom of religion, as long as I don't force or make you to convert or become anything, then I am not violating that at all. But what people will do is they will make laws and say that we can't exercise our freedom of religion, meaning I want to read the Bible when I'm in public school. No, you can't have a Bible in here. That'll violate separation of church and state. How? Are you establishing a religion when you read a Bible? There are people, groups, English. Here, you can write a report on any book that you want. Any book in the world, okay? And people write book reports on raunchy, racist, whatever, and they're allowed to do that. But someone wants to do a book report on a book of the Bible. Nope, you're not allowed to do that. How come? Separation of church and state. Okay? What they're doing, listen carefully, in setting up a false separation of church and state, they are prohibiting the free exercise of someone's religion, thus violating their First Amendment right. And that's what people do not understand. I want you to listen carefully to this. We in America are not given freedom from religion. We're given freedom of religion. Now, what some people want, and there are people that are for freedom from religion, meaning they do not want to see or hear anything about religion ever. You want religion, keep it to yourself. You make it private. Religion is supposed to be a private thing. So do it in your house and do it in your closet. Don't go out in public and pray. Don't pray on a football team. Pray in a closet. Do people say that? Absolutely. 2 weeks ago, I posted about a coach that had prayed on a football field after the game, thanking God for safety and the ability to play and enjoy that. And some football players would join him on the field. He's at the Supreme Court, and they're hearing his case because he was fired because he had prayer. Voluntary, nobody made to. But one kid said, I felt pressured, like if I didn't do it, I wouldn't get to play as much. Did he say anything that way? No. Did he practice it that way? No. So just because you felt that way doesn't make it reality, and you can't prosecute somebody or fire them because you felt intimidated that you had to be a part of that. Okay? So when they said you can't do that, they are prohibiting his free exercise of religion. Did he establish a religion by praying on a football field? Absolutely not. Establishing a religion makes Methodist or Episcopal or Anglican or Baptist or Presbyterian or Lutheran the state religion. They're establishing a state religion. That's all that means. By the way, did they understand back then what that meant? Absolutely, they understood what that meant. How come? How did they know what that meant? Because they just came over from England, where all the countries had a state church. The Church of England in England, Lutheran Church in Germany, Presbyterian Church in Switzerland, Catholic Church in Italy and other places. Okay? So they knew, and hey, if you have an established religion, then the other religions that aren't established, that aren't joined or married with the state, will be persecuted. And they knew that because that's why they came to America, to have freedom of religion, so they could worship the way they wanted to. Okay, that's what that meant. And if you study and see, many of the colonies had a state religion when they started. When they were states, they had a state religion. Okay, and by the way, the First Amendment does not outlaw a state to have a state religion. Now, that may go up the courts, but the original intent of that was not. How do you know? Well, North Carolina had their state religion until 1875, almost 100 years after the Declaration of Independence. Okay, so it didn't mean a state couldn't have a state religion. The states did. Many of them did for a long time. So please understand, prayer in schools, 10 Commandments on the wall, reading the Bible does not establish a religion. By the way, it has been said and proved, you can look this up, they have had multiple Supreme Court decisions that have come down that said America was founded as a Christian nation. Founded. Where were the first public schools? What were they in? Churches. And what was their reading material? The Bible. But now it's unconstitutional, violating separation of church and state. Is that crazy? By the way, who were the original leaders of the country? How many of them were ministers? Look at the Black Robe Regiment and see what a big deal that was. Look at the mayors. I was just told this. Most of the mayors in the 1800s were pastors. They were pastors. They were educated. They were well known. They had leadership, and they were chosen to be the mayor of a town, to be able to help it to run. But nowadays, I've had people tell me, oh, you can't do that. You can't talk about that because you're a pastor. And again, I do not give up my First Amendment right just because I am a pastor. My freedom of speech is not taken away from me just because I am a pastor, okay? So please understand, your freedom of religion is not freedom from religion. I don't want to see a cross. I don't want to see a church. I don't want to see a Bible. I don't want to see the Ten Commandments. I don't want to see any statues that have anything to do with God or religion. I want freedom from religion. That is not promised and guaranteed in our country. Now, if you lived in Saudi Arabia, then you could have a freedom from religion other than Islam. How come? Because Islam is their state religion, and they persecute any other religion that is not Islam. And so in Saudi Arabia and other countries, if you have a different religion, they better not see it because it is outlawed to have. The Bible is outlawed in Saudi Arabia. If they catch you bringing a Bible in, you will be in trouble. How come? The Bible's outlawed. They do not have freedom of religion. You have to be Muslim. You have to be in there. So other people can, of course, live there, but the state religion is the Muslim church, okay? Or is the Islam religion. So understand what separation of church and state is. Last week I read, I'll talk about it just for a minute, where did the term separation of church and state come from? Is it in the Constitution? No. Is it in the preamble? No. Is it in the Bill of Rights? No. Okay? When was it? How was it? It was in a letter from Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptist Association, answering a letter that they wrote to him. They were afraid that our religious freedoms were not going to be inalienable rights, that these rights of freedom of religion may be taken away one day by a Congress, by the laws. So they wrote Thomas Jefferson a letter. He answered them and quoted the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law to establish a religion, and Congress shall not hinder or the free exercise of that religion. Okay? Thus, Thomas Jefferson said, setting up a wall of separation between church and state. Simply. Okay? And by the way, no one disagrees with that. No one argues with that, except when they try to ban Christianity altogether and claim that if they don't, we're establishing a religion. Christianity is already established in America. It already is, okay? Look at our laws. Look at where it came from. Go to the Supreme Court. Look at Moses. Look at the Ten Commandments on the wall. Go in the Washington Monument. Look at the verses there. Go in Congress. Look at the verses there. The motto is, in God we trust, okay? We are a Christian nation. Like it or not like it, that's what it is. And we are not establishing a religion by saying that. We only establish a religion when we make a Christian denomination the state religion and persecute the other ones. That's what that is all about. So you are not guaranteed in this country freedom from religion. You are guaranteed your freedom of religion. And by the way, you have the ability to be an atheist in this country. That is your religion. That's your firmly held beliefs by faith. Oh, no, it's science. No, it's not. Okay? There is no science. You cannot prove any of the Big Bang evolution. You can't prove any of that stuff. We'll talk more about it, but you can't prove that. And it's not observable, okay? And it's not observable, and you can't prove it. It is not science. But to so many people, it is because they believe it. Just because you believe it's science doesn't make it science. Science has to be observable. You have to replicate it, prove it, show it. And you cannot do that with any of the Big Bang or with evolution. Okay? So in this country, we have freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. And separation of church and state does not mean Christians and churches can't be involved in that. Study the history of our country and see how big and how involved churches were, Christians were, and pastors were in the founding of our nation. Okay? It is a lie. It is a secular humanist, ungodly people that are going after religion, Christianity, to get rid of it from the public square. But yet, that was not the original intent of the Constitution or the Bill of Rights at all. Okay, so I wanted to hit that again. We covered it last week, but I wanted to make sure we took more time on that because it is such a big deal. If you don't think it's a big deal, sit in my seat and hear the criticism that comes from me because I, for years, would comment on something politically or teach or preach on something politically. And now, gasp, run for office. But you're a Christian. You're a pastor. You can't do that. And there are so many people who think that. It's amazing the comments that I get from people that have a totally wrong understanding of separation of church and state. All right, hopefully you got it. We will move on next week to the next topic. We'll see you then, and be kind to everyone because everyone's having a tough time, and make sure you get wisdom